Hey friends, this is the Miss Oakley from our half-acre homestead, and today I'm making lunch meat. Now, this is all bacon and ham and sausage patties that I made last year. Roasts and chops and stuff in here. And there's a ham, but this is all last year stuff. And I'm going to be putting it all through the meat grinder, adding a few seasonings because there is ham and salty bacon in here and sausage patties. But we're going to make some lunch meat. So when I get this stuff all cut up and ready for the grinder, we'll be back. Okay, so what we have here is 22 pounds, 5 ounces of meat. And it's pretty much a good 50-50 split between ham and bacon and my sausage meat and plain pork. You know, my stuff, or my ham, my bacon, and my sausage was all cured at home. So I know, for instance, my sausage meat was pretty bland, my ham was just right, and my bacon was too salty, or half of my bacon was too salty. So, or that's going to change how much seasoning we use. But if you're going to do this recipe, I recommend 50% bacon and ham to 50% pork. I will be using a medium grind blade on my meat grinder. Okay, time to make our lunch meat. Okay, so this is 22 pounds of meat, and as I said, now if you're going to use commercial meat, something you haven't raised or cured yourself, I would go 1/3 ham and sausage to 2/3 ground pork, okay? But because this is all my own cured stuff and butchered stuff, I had to tweak it for me. So what you're going to need here is a 1/2 cup of sugar, 8 tablespoons of Homestead Quick Cure or Morton's Tender Quick, 3/4 cup of potato starch. If you don't have potato starch, you can use cornstarch. A heaping 1/3 cup of parsley, and in here I have 2 teaspoons of peppercorns, 2 teaspoons of fennel, and 2 teaspoons of chilies. I'm going to take my Homestead Quick Cure, and if you want to know how to make my Homestead Quick Cure, click on the link or the little eye right up here in the corner of the thing, and it'll take you to the video on how to make it. The sugar and the starch into 3 cups of very cold water. We're going to give this a stir because we want this to be mixed up. The cold water does 2 things. It allows you to accurately liquefy your ingredients, your seasonings, so that it spreads evenly throughout the meat, and it helps emulsify the meat. Now, in order to truly emulsify the meat, you'd want ice water, and you'd want to use an S-blade on your food processor. And all that does is make it more of a consistency of bologna, but I like to see meat in mine. We are going to pour our, you want to continue stirring the last bit to make, as you pour it, just to make sure you get all of the sugar and salt and everything that's in there. Now, if you notice, the one ingredient I am not adding is salt. Why? Because there's salt in the Quick Cure, and there's salt in the ham and the bacon, and some in the sausage, so I didn't want to go overboard. Now we're going to take my parsley and my fennel, peppercorns, and chilies, and we're going to grind them. Okay. Whoa. Give it. Oof. When you're grinding hot things, folks, like chili, like chilies and peppercorns, let it settle before you take the lid off or you'll choke on it. All right, so we're gonna sprinkle that on there. Now, I don't know about anybody else, but I don't have one of those fancy meat mixers, and I don't have $200 to spend on one. And this is way too much meat for my KitchenAid. So you guessed it, we're gonna use the first tools God gave us, our hands. The only reason I am putting gloves on is normally I mix, my hands are clean and normally I mix by hand, but the only reason I'm putting gloves on is I got a nick on my finger and I don't want to grind some spice into that. So, and we're just going to get mixing this. Okay, I forgot to mix the onion in. So before I put on a fresh pair of gloves, I want to show you that I have one of my huge cookie trays and I've got wire racks on it because that's what we're going to be baking this in the oven. I'm going to pre-cut myself some strings for tying this stuff up. So I got to mix this onion in. And I thought I did so good mixing it. Okay folks, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that, ladies and gentlemen, is why I sit on the chairs my father made. Yes, I'm going to be in a fibro flare again, but the butchering and wrapping will get done. Back at it. Okay, folks, so now, oh yeah, there goes my back. So now we are going to make loaves of our lunch meat. And last year when I made the salami, I actually poked holes in my paper to let some of the juice and steam out. Don't do that. No, 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 no. Because your meat will dry out. Mine was good, but it wasn't as juicy as, say, store-bought meat would be. All right, now I'm going to roll this down to the end. And you make it the size that you would want for your sandwiches. Okay, and now we're just going to roll it up and push it in. See how it makes a nice thick loaf, folks? So that it'll be perfect size for slicing for sandwiches. And we just twist this. And that's why we use a nice big piece of parchment too, because we want it to completely wrap the meat almost twice. It would be best to do it twice. And then we take a piece of our cotton butcher string and we tie these ends up good and tight. Okay, folks, now I'm going to move my paper here, and you want to squeeze it so that it's the size and thickness you want. And then we're going to start putting them on this tray to go in the oven. I have all this meat properly wrapped for the oven. We'll be back. Okay. These are ready to go into a 250-degree oven for 3 to 4 hours, or until the internal temperature reaches 155 degrees. And here is our lunch meat. It's beautiful. Got all that beautiful jelly, just like you would with a canned meat. Oh yeah, look at this. And I wish you could smell this, folks. Isn't that lovely? And there it is, folks. Between 20 and 22 pounds of lunch meat. This is the Miss Wolfie from our half-acre homestead saying, how about that? Last year's meat from the freezer now becomes this year's lunch meat, and nothing goes to waste. Take care, God bless.